Hello and welcome to a Cinco de Mayo edition of Adventures with Alchemy. This is a very special day for a lot of people. Here in California, there's a lot of Mexicans. I mean, we used to be Mexico, and me, myself, and I have tons and tons and tons of friends, including my wife, who are Mexican. So we decided to celebrate today and do an episode on margaritas. I mean, why not? I love margaritas and I love tacos, and who doesn't like margaritas and tacos on Cinco de Mayo, right? So yeah, I have to say that one thing that I see a lot out there is a lot of crappy margaritas. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. All right, there it is. Now, not necessarily in restaurants, but for your average person who goes to the supermarket, you see a lot of premixes, a lot of garbage. I can't tell you how many times I get text messages from friends and family who say, hey, which one of these are good? And it's a shelf full of pre-made sweet and sours, and I'm like, none of those things. Don't get any of those things for your margaritas. It's actually a lot more simple than that. You don't need to spend $12 on a bottle of premix. All you need is a couple lemons and a couple limes and some sugar, a little water. Ideally, you want to use agave syrup. So let's get into that. That being said, let's get into what is in a traditional margarita, okay? Traditional margarita is made up of some sour, usually lime juice or lemon juice, or in this case both, some agave syrup, which is like simple syrup, maybe not as sweet, I don't know, sweeter depending on who you ask. Blue agave nectar. Agave syrup is best for this, but if you don't have it, use some simple syrup is fine, okay? You want some orange liqueur. In this case, we're going to use Cointreau. I see triple sec is used a lot, and that's just fine. But yeah, Cointreau is delicious. And of course, tequila. We're using white tequila, as aged has more of a smoky flavor. So if you like your margarita with more of a smoky flavor, then you want to go with a more aged tequila. For a nice crisp flavor, that nice sour crisp flavor, you want to have a young tequila, a white tequila, or blanco. Okay? So, origins, history of the margarita. We're going to go through this kind of quick. I'm not going to go into a full-blown detailed thing. We're going to make this into a quick, crisp, delicious, easy to swallow video. So, the history of the margarita. The history of the margarita is a lot like the history of a lot of cocktails. It started off with some citrus, some sweet, and some strong. And they put it together and it tasted really good. That's the real simplified version of it. But the way it actually went down was that it's a close relative to a Mexican cocktail called the Daisy, which is a close relative to a drink called the Sidecar, which is basically made with brandy or cognac, some sour, some sweet, and boom, there you have it. Basically, this is made with tequila instead of brandy or cognac, okay? They very popular, became real popular during Prohibition because people were going to Mexico to drink when alcohol was illegal in this country. So it made sense. You went over there, you had a couple sours, and tequila is what's plentiful, like rum is on the islands or in certain parts of the world, and boom, there you have it. Tequila sours or margaritas. So a little salt on the rim, give it that, salty on the lips. You have the sour from the citrus, you have your sweet from your agave or simple syrup or gum syrup, whatever the case may be, and of course your orange liqueur and your tequila. Now, mezcal is awesome in a margarita, but that's a whole nother story. We're gonna do that for another episode. Okay, let's do this. Margaritas. You are going to need 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice. You are going to need 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. You are going to need 1/2 ounce of agave syrup. You will need 1/2 ounce of Cointreau, and you will need 2 ounces of tequila, okay? Now, when you're at home, if you want to up any of these ingredients, go ahead. This is just a simple, basic recipe. From there, you can do whatever you want. Now, if you're in a restaurant or you're in a club or you're in a professional setting, Number one, please check with your local establishment and see how they make theirs so that you are consistent with the establishment. But number two, also make sure that you're making a drink that's legal, that you don't want to go over 3 ounces. Be a responsible bartender. Do what's right. All right, so let's get started. Oh, I'm so sorry. Part of the mise en place, you're also going to need maybe a tablespoon or more of some coarse salt. Just put it in a little dish like this. Then go ahead and take a little bit of lime juice or lemon juice, that's fine, and put it into another little dish like this, wide enough to where you can coat your glass, just the rim of the glass. So we're just put a little tiny bit, not much. You don't need a lot. See, it's not much. It really isn't. Then we're gonna put a little bit of simple syrup, maybe like a 1/2 ounce, 1/4 ounce to a 1/2 ounce. And that's it. And I like to mix it up really well. Gives you like a nice sticky consistency. This works well on glass. It also works well on plastic cups if you're using plastic cups outside. So you got that red Solo cup. This will keep it sticky. This will keep your salt on your cup. Okay, for the most part. Okay, next, take your empty glass. Now, there is such thing as a margarita glass. It is like a martini glass with a little bit more depth. It's got a wider mouth. I do not have one of those on me right now, so I'm going to use a hurricane glass. Please forgive me. I'm going to fill it up to the rim with ice. After we shake our cocktail, we're going to strain over fresh ice. But first, let's salt our rim. So first, dip the rim of your glass into your sticky mixture. And then put it into your salt dish and just kind of spin it around. Make sure that the rim, the mouth of the glass is well coated. Now, I'll share a little tip. I believe this doesn't alter the flavor in any way of the drink. So what I do is I take the glass, I tip it like this. I make it upside down like this, hang it upside down. Take a nice clean napkin or rag of some sort and wipe out the inside of that lip and get all that salt from the inside out. You only want salt on the outside rim, not the inside. You don't want it to affect the flavor of the cocktail, only this part when it hits your lips. So you take that little extra step as a bartender, people will appreciate that. They do see that. And if you're making it for yourself, you will see the difference in flavor. So there you go. So now our glass is ready. The next thing we're gonna do is get your shaker out. Let's start by measuring our non-alcoholic ingredients so we're not wasting anything. Do 3/4 ounce of lime, 3/4 ounce of lemon, 1/2 ounce of agave. Now remember, you could always add more sweet. You can never subtract. So, if you like yours more sour, stick with this recipe. If you like it more sweet, add a little more, but always taste as you go. I like my stuff sour. I like it to be sweet, semi-sweet, but I like it sour. I like it to be a nice, I'd say balance is always the key word, but I like it to be just slightly more sour than sweet. Okay, so we have our non-alcoholic ingredients. Now let's start with our Cointreau, which is gonna do a 1/2 ounce. And again, triple sec is fine. Orange Curacao is probably fine too, but it's not the same. They taste very different. And again, using a aged tequila, you're gonna get more of a smoky finish, whereas using a Blanco, you're gonna get that more of that crisp, more citrusy, sour. Crisp is the word I like to use a lot. Clean. Whereas the more aged, the more barrel, the more, and some people like that and some people don't, but that's just really the difference. You don't need to put a Don Julio 1942 in a margarita, please. Just enjoy that for what it is. That's a sipping tequila. Again, that's another conversation, but yes, so 2 ounces. Okay, go ahead and fill up your glass with ice, like I have here, all the way to the top. Go and get yourself a nice big cube or maybe just, you know, a little scoop of ice and put it into your shaker. And yeah, go ahead and get to shaking. And strain it over the top, those fresh rocks. And as you can see, there's a little tiny bit left. And since we're at home, and it is Cinco de Mayo, we're just gonna take a little tequila, and just a little bit, a little smidgen. And we're just gonna kind of clean that glass out. There we go. Now normally, you would serve this with a fresh lime wedge. Personally, I don't know if that's a good idea because what happens is, A, you squeeze the lime in and that alters the flavor of the drink. 2, you might throw it away and that's a waste of a garnish. So I believe a nice dehydrated lime wheel goes a long way. I like dehydrated fruits. I think that they're pretty and they also still add an essence to the cocktail without overdoing it, without possibly altering what you intended to put out there. So, dehydrated lime wheel, make it look pretty. Yourself a straw. And there you have it. Margarita. Salud. Feliz Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo. And cheers. Thank you. I want some tacos. Let's do this.